Assalamu alaikum. Hope everyone is doing well. Today we'll be going over the specialties of family number 5 and family number 6. So first we have family number 5, which is tafa'ul, and the first meaning it has is of a response to family number 2. So for example, if we have nabbaha in family number 2, which is to warn, then for family number 5, it becomes the nabbaha, which means to take heed, right? So you're taking heed of the warning, right? So that's a responsive action to the warning itself. And then for another example is allama, which means to teach, right? And if we put this into family number 5, it becomes ta'allama, which means to learn. So that's the response from teaching, right? So they taught, so you learn. So it's essentially a response to family number 2. And another meaning family number 5 has is to put an object into action, right? So basically to take an object and turn it into an action. So here we have wisada, which means a pillow, right? And then if we put this into family number 5, it becomes tawassada, which is to take a pillow to rest on. So you're taking an object and you're utilizing it in an action. And yeah, so that's fairly simple. So let's move on to the next meaning, which is to highlight a struggle. So, for example, if we have sabara, which is to restrain, then if we put this into family number 5, it becomes the sabbara, which is to endure in one's restraining, right? So it's highlighting the struggle of going through that action. Same thing with hilmun, which is forbearance. And then if we put this into family number 5, it becomes the hallama, which is to endure in one's forbearance, right? So it's essentially taking the base meaning and highlighting the struggle in that action. Now let's take a look at another meaning, which is to refrain from an action. So for example, we have haraja, which means to commit a crime, and if we put this into family number 5, it becomes the haraja, which is to refrain from committing a crime, right? So you're refraining from the action of that base meaning. Same thing here with hajada, which means to fall asleep. And then if we put this into family number 5, it becomes the hajjada, which is to refrain from sleep. So one of the meanings from family 5 is to refrain from an action. Another meaning it had is of progression. So for example, if we have jara'a, which is to swallow, right? So that becomes the jarra'a. So it means to swallow piecemeal. So it's showing that something is done in stages. So for example, with hafadh, it means to preserve, and the hafadh, it means to preserve in stages, or to preserve part by part, right? So that has the connotation of progression. So those are the common meanings that have to do with family number 5. And now let's move on to family number 6, which is known as the tafa'ul. So one of the meanings family 6 has is of mutuality with extended transitivity. So for example, if we have jadaba, which is to tug, right? If we put this into family number 6, it becomes the jadaba, which is to tug back and forth, right? So it's changing from one individual tugging to a tug of war between two individuals, right? And then same thing with another example, khasama, which is to argue, right? If we put this into family number 6, it becomes the khasama, which is to argue back and forth, right? So again, it's going from one individual to two individuals going back and forth between that action. And yeah, so now let's take a look at another meaning from family 6, which is to fake an action, right? So this is essentially a false manifestation of an action. So for example, if we have nama, which is to sleep, then if we put this into family number 6, it becomes the nawama, which is to pretend to sleep, right? So you're faking that action. And then same thing with baka, which is to cry, and then the baka means to pretend to cry, again, faking crying. And then alima is to know, and then the alama is to pretend to know. Again, you're faking that action, right? So that's the common meaning here. Let's take a look at another meaning. This is again of progression. So we have warada, which is to arrive. Then in family number 6, it becomes the warada, which is to arrive one after another. So again, it has the connotation of progression because it's one after another and another and another, right? which indicates progress. And then another meaning we have is of a response to family number 3. So for example, we have ba'ada, which is to cause separation, right? And then if we put this into family number 6, it becomes taba'ada, which is to be separated, right? So this is a response to the action of someone causing separation, and the result is to be separated. So those are all the common meanings for family number 5 and family number 6, and I'll see you guys next time.